On air. Hi guys, you're online, and welcome to the first hangout from Chaos to Cash team. And my name is Hitesh, and I'm the host for the day today. And we along with some of my friends from the team of chaos2cash.com, we would actually be dissecting the Modi budget, the first budget for finance presented by the finance minister Sri Arun Jaitley. I have two of my friends along with me, Archit Agarwal and Rajat Jaiswal. Both of them are aspiring chartered accountants, and they would be helping me dissect the Modi budget. And we also would have some of our other friends coming up during the process of the hangout. And by the time they actually come up, let us first introduce ourselves. And I would introduce you to Rajat. Rajat, over to you. Help everybody know you.
Hello guys, I'm Rajat. Uh, Archit, तुम बोलो.
Hello friends, I'm Archit Agarwal and we are bringing it straight to you from Chaos to Cash, a very unique dissection of both the railway budgets and the union finance budget presented on the 8th of July and the 10th of July. So Hitesh.
All right, that's a nice, very brief, very precise, very small introduction by both the young guys aspiring to be market analysts in the future. So, I mean, it's the first budget presented by the Modi government, and naturally, very expectingly, the expectations were very high. Everybody expected them to present a series of reforms, and we are here to discuss if the reforms have been presented or if the reforms have not been presented. Rajat, the first question to you: what were your basic expectations from the finance minister and the railway minister
Hello.
as well?
Hello.
Yeah, Rajat, we can hear you.
Uh,
Rajat, Mike. Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, Rajat, we can hear you.
Hello.
Yes, Rajat, we can hear you. No problem. By the time Rajat gets his line fixed, we go to Archit. Archit, asking you the same question that I asked to Rajat. What were your basic expectations from the Modi government? What were you basically expecting? The kind of railway budget that Sadanand Gowde has actually presented, and Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has presented. Are you happy with the budget? Are your expectations online, or are you?
Yeah, Hitesh, exactly, definitely. Most of the whatever we saw in the budget, most of the points were very much expected by the investors and what to say, the public of the country. And what we see is definitely the introduction of bullet trains and the reforms in the canteen section and the use of solar energy has been very much welcomed by all of us. That was a very expected budget from the government.
All right. So you are indirectly trying to say that the budget is on very expected lines, and you are very happy with the kind of budget that the Modi government has presented.
Yeah, personally, if you ask me, yes, very much I would welcome this budget, and just that the idea of the bullet trains, that too carrying it 8 years before they are going to implement it, is quite. I think it's early. They should have brought it 2 years later, or else it was par with my expectations.
All right. Are you just trying to say that the government might run short on finances, given the kind of fiscal deficit we already have in the country? I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
yeah, Rajat. Yeah, Archit.
Hello, Videsh. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Archit.
you see, we are not in a situation right now. We are facing 20,000 crores of losses each year in the railways. So we are not in a position to spend 60,000 crores on bullet trains right now. Maybe if in 1 2 years Modi government would have been able to might be able to earn profits in the section, then maybe we would be able to invest in ideas and projects like these.
I understand what you're trying to say, but at the same time, they've also linked the rail fares to the diesel prices. What they've done is they've actually linked the prices of the fare to the market prices of the diesel. So once the prices of the diesel actually increases in the market, the rail fare prices also increase. So I think that's actually going to bring in a lot of money for the government, and that might actually help them. I think we have Rajat with us. Rajat, can you hear us?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Perfect, absolutely fine. Rajat, I asked Rajat his expectations on the railway budget presented by Sadanand Gowda. I mean, are you happy with the budget? Or do you have your expectations online? Or are you disappointed with the budget? What's your reaction? What's your take on the budget?
The budget was satisfactory, but everyone was expecting everyone was expecting some fast-moving trains like bullet trains to be introduced. मतलब कि चाहता था सिर्फ आई थिंक कि गोवा से लेकर के मुंबई तक वो इम्प्लीमेंट हुआ है अभी तक वो सारे कंट्रीज में इम्प्लीमेंट सारे सिटीज टू सिटीज में इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं हो पाया
No, are you trying to say that the bullet trains? No, what was the point regarding the Goa to Mumbai train?
budget. I think that that in the budget, Mr. Jaitley said that only the
No,
trains
no, no, no,
between.
no. Rajat, we're discussing the railway budget presented by by Sadanand Gowda. We're not discussing the finance budget yet. We're just sticking to the railway budget. We're not talking about the finance budget presented by Arun Jaitley. I'm just asking you were your expectations fulfilled by the railway budget presented by Sadanand Gowda, or are you disappointed with the budget? That's what I'm actually asking you.
Actually, I don't have much idea about railway budget, so I can't comment.
Nonetheless, never mind, never mind. I mean, before we sum up this section on the railway budget, I would personally give an overview of what actually happened. Sadanand Gowda actually can be called as somebody who is a lambe race ka Gowda. I mean, he's actually presented a very good budget, and I like this. I like certain policies that he's actually undertaken in the rail budget. I like a lot of initiatives like introducing Wi-Fi in all A-grade stations. That's a really welcome move by the railway minister. I personally, exactly. Yeah, Archit, would you like to join in?
Yeah, the thing is, Sadanand Gowda has definitely brought out Wi-Fi into A-grade stations. He has brought out business, a very good prospects for the businessmen who are traveling right around the country regarding their business projects to introduce business sections in the trains. So that is also a very welcoming move by the
Right.
investors and the what to say, the marketers.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. Exactly. I think you're talking about the train on office on wheels initiative
Yeah, office
introduced
on train,
by
office
the
on
railway
wheels. Yeah, yeah,
minister.
yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I mean, overall, it's been a good budget presented by Sadanand Gowda. But personally, I was expecting the introduction of FDI in railways, which still which has been proposed by the railway minister. But there is a lot of yes or no on the move by the railway minister. You would have to actually wait and see as to what happens if FDI is introduced in railways or not. Because given the kind of state our railways is in, and the kind of losses they're actually making, their in losses of 24,000 crores, FDI in railways would be a really welcome move. Apart from that, they've introduced the bio washrooms. That is a really welcome move considering the kind of unhygienic train bogies and coaches that we have in India. It's really going to improve the environment and the sanitation that we have in railways. And apart from that, they've really tried working hard on the security. They've introduced a lot of GRP men in the railway portion, and apart from that, they've also started women's security. They've also given a lot of stress on women's security. Overall, it's a good budget, but still, the expectations were naturally so high that the markets actually tanked. The day the railway budget was presented, all the railway stocks they tanked up to 8 to 9%. and that clearly shows the kind of expectations the railway stocks or the market basically had from the Modi government. I don't think we have a lot to discuss on the railways part. I think we should move forward to the finance part, the finance budget presented by the Modi government. And if in case anybody apart from including Archit and Rajit has to comment anything on the railway budget, then go ahead and do that. Archit, anything on the railway budget?
It was a satisfactory budget, definitely. No
Any
points, no
points?
points. No more. Yeah, covered all.
All right. Okay. Rajat, anything on the railway budget?
Well, actually, I was, there is a Wi-Fi facility in Rajdhani also, but the speed of that Wi-Fi is tremendously slow. No one can even access to some basic websites like Google. So it's no use implementing Wi-Fi in a A-class station also if you are not being able to provide a good speed.
No, I think they would be able to provide good speeds because see, Rajdhani moves through a lot of areas wherein there is no connectivity. Even your mobile carrier fails to provide you with good connection. Forget internet. But when it comes to proper A-grade stations, when we're talking about A-grade stations, I think they mean stations like Howrah or the Mumbai terminus, Chhatrapati Shivaji terminus, or they're talking about the Delhi station, or if you go down south, I think they're talking about Bangalore, or they're talking about Madras. So they're basically talking about A-grade stations where the connectivity is good, and they're actually trying to introduce it into the sphere of the railways, and this is a good move. I think so. Now this is very common with all the governments. They propose a lot of proposals, but the implementation is got to be seen. So we would actually, I would personally want to wait and see as to how the implementation takes place as to the several other schemes introduced by the railway ministry of the Modi government. Yeah. Any further points, Rajat?
No.
Talking about that,
No. All right.
Hitesh, I would like to
Yeah.
interrupt.
Yeah. Archit.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
what we have seen is we do have expectations with this government, but the expectations are because they have been able to implement it. What we see is in stations like Ahmedabad and Jaipur, there are already Wi-Fi connectivities which are really fast and are quite more than up to the mark. So it
Yeah.
will be quite expected that the government will be able to implement all these facilities.
See, I agree what you have to say. I mean, somebody who's been to Rajkot or Ahmedabad would agree to what you have to say. But again, the point remains: the central government is actually there to formulate strategies and policies. The implementation part
Yeah.
actually depends on the state governments. Now, if the state governments don't actually cooperate, now then it gets really difficult for the central government to implement its strategies. I mean, I think Rajat has a very valid point, but yet we would actually have to wait and watch how far the implementation goes by and how difficult it actually gets for the Modi government, because given the kind of opposition he's been facing from day one, I think it's going to be really difficult. What do you say? Yeah,
It's a wait
Archit?
and watch show. Yeah, it's a wait and
Yeah.
watch show, Hitesh. We have to
All right.
see. It has just been 45 days of the government. Let's see what happens in 3-4 months.
Okay. Cool. I think there is not much to discuss about the railway budget. Before we move on to the finance budget, I would like to mention some few points from the railway budget. Some few basic points that our viewers would like to know. What are the points in the budget that is good for the consumers? The Modi government has basically decided to initiate new trains. The number of new trains is 58. Hello.
Yeah, yeah, sick.
Yes, guys, are you? Am I audible?
Yeah. There. Very much, Hitesh, very
All
much.
right. Okay. So the Modi government has introduced close to 58 new trains, and all trains would be starting from all over the country. The Modi government, sorry, has also, hello,
Yeah, say Hitesh.
Archit. All right, fine. In case you do not hear me, do tell me that I'm not audible. All right.
Yes, very
Okay.
much. You say.
Now, apart from this, okay. Apart from this, the Modi government has also decided to stop services such as Duronto, which have been loss making for the government. Considering the kind of expenses that the government has to pay on these free fast trains such as Duronto, the government has decided to stop them. Apart from that, the railway minister has sent a proposal to the finance minister for the introduction of FDI in the railways. And apart from that, the Modi government has also decided to introduce new food courts wherein the travelers would get easy access to good fooding, and all the contracts and the tenders for the pantry car that's actually in each and every train, that would actually go to corporate houses. There are a lot of other points that the government has proposed in the railway budget. If in any case somebody wants to have a look over them, they should go on to our Facebook page and have a look over them. It's time we move over to the finance budget, the first finance budget presented by the Modi government. And before we begin, as we begin, I would like to give Rajat the first opportunity to talk about it. Rajat, what were your expectations before we talk about what's actually in the budget? I mean, tell us what were your expectations from the budget? What were you basically expecting?
I was expecting the basic exemption limit of the individuals to be extended from 2 lakhs to 3 lakhs, but it has been limited to
Okay.
2.5 lakhs. For senior citizens, from 2.5 lakhs to 3 lakhs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And deduction limit under section 80C, it must be increased from 1 lakh to 2 lakh, because everyone invests 1 lakh in PPF, and if we will increase the limit of 80C, then more capital funding will of the country will increase. Indirectly, it will help in improving the GDP.
Okay.
A relaxation of 80C scheme from rupees 1 lakh to 3 lakh will enable many people to buy insurance products like tax saving mutual funds. The current limit of 1 lakh gets exhausted very fast by the provident fund contributors.
All right. So you were basically
That's all.
expecting a lot of DBs. You were actually expecting the Modi government to increase all kinds of
No, I'm
exemption
not
limits.
talking about freebies. You will have to give your money. You have to invest. Then only you will get the deduction. I'm not saying to decrease the tax rate. I'm just saying
Uh-huh.
to give the opportunity to the individuals to invest and to help in capital mobilization in order to reduce their tax. I'm not talking about freebies.
All right. All right. All right. Okay. So list of expectations that Narendra Modi must have actually made adherence to while presenting the budget. But I'm very sad. I mean, Rajat's
Sumit has joined the
expectations have
call.
not been fulfilled. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Sumit
Yes.
has joined the
Just a
call.
moment. All right. Not a problem. Yeah, I can see. Sumit, can you hear us?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
All right, Sumit, welcome to the Hangout. Sumit, hi guys. We have Sumit along with us. Sumit is a co-member of the group. He's a part of the Chaos to Cash team, and he takes care of the Facebook page as well. I would. Uh, uh, all right, Sumit, can you actually get yourself introduced to the viewers watching this show? Can you do that, please?
Yes, I myself Sumit Kumar Shah, and admin of Kiosk to Cash, a page which is operated by us, which in
Mm-hmm.
how
All right. All right, not a problem. That's great. Sumit, we're discussing the finance budget presented by the Honorable Finance Minister Sri Arun Jaitley. I mean, even Rajat told us what were his expectations from the finance minister. I would like to ask you what were your expectations from the finance minister? What were you expecting?
I was just expecting that this first budget should focus mainly on growth and nothing else. As
Sumit,
we have,
Sumit, you're not audible. I would request you to get
Yes,
a bit
yes.
louder.
excuse me now. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Sumit, you continue. You continue speaking. I'll just plug in the charger. Just a minute. All right.
Okay.
You continue. Continue speaking.
Actually, see what the thing is. I was expecting from this finance budget 2020-14 that should focus only on growth and nothing else.
Yes,
Excuse
go on,
me.
Sumit.
Yes, is my voice audible?
No, your
Yes,
voice is
Sumit,
actually
yes.
very low.
Please speak.
Okay, just a minute. Just a minute. Is now my voice audible?
Yes, yes, it's okay now.
Okay. So I was saying that my expectation regarding to this budget 2014 was that finance minister or Mr. Arun Jaitley will focus only on growth and nothing else. As we have heard in Modi's
Growth in which
speech,
way? According to you, how can the country grow? What steps must Arun Jaitley have taken for the growth of the country?
actually growth in the country means that doesn't simply means that our GDP growth will increase. Okay. Nothing as such that if we see increasing growth rate,
Wait a
then
second.
we can see that
I'll be back in a
our
moment. Wait a second.
okay.
Yes, Sumit, what were you saying?
Yes, I was just expecting from our honorable finance minister.
Sumit, you're not audible.
Hello.
You're not audible. Can you be a bit loud?
Yes, can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but your voice is very low. Can you be a bit loud?
Yeah. Yes. All the group members, can you hear me now?
Archit,
Yeah, yeah, Rajat, say.
can you hear Sumit's voice?
It's light, it's very, very light. Please speak a bit loud.
Or change your earphone?
Yeah, Sumit, say.
Yes, yes, Sumit, say, go on.
Ah. So what I was expecting from the Union Budget 2014 was that our honorable finance minister, Mr. Arun Jaitley, would have taken some stricter and bolder decisions, as we said, tough decisions. As we heard Mr. Modi speaking of, hello,
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
we can
Sumit,
hear
please
you.
continue. Please
yes,
continue.
as we heard Mr. Modi in his Goa summit that he has said he has given a hint that कुछ कड़वे decisions लेने पड़ेंगे.
Yesh has joined the
So
group.
that was the tough decisions and bolder decisions I was expecting from this budget. But to some extent,
All
I
right.
didn't find. Hello.
Yeah, Sumit,
Yes,
please go
yes.
on.
Yes, but to some extent, it was lacking that tough decision that I was wanting regarding subsidy. That we in recent days also we have seen that a railway hike in suburban areas, doubling the fare rate in suburban areas have. After doubling it, there was an outcry from the public, and most TV news also we have heard that taunting that tagline of Mr. Modi, "अच्छे दिन आने वाले हैं."
Yes. Hi, Rajat.
Hello.
Hi. I'm very sorry, guys. I got disconnected due to a bad internet connection. I'm really sorry about it. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Yes, Hitesh.
All right. All right. So I left. I left it over to Sumit to tell us about what were his expectations from the government, and expecting that he's already done with it. I would now move forward to Archit to tell us what were his expectations from the Union Finance Minister, and what was he expecting in the first finance budget.
Yes, Ritesh, I would first like to congratulate the Modi government on a very good maiden union budget. What was I? There's some disturbance. Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
the line is
audible. You're
clear.
very much audible. Yep.
Yeah. What was I expecting from the finance budget this time was a bit some more harsh steps regarding the guys. There's a disturbance. Hello.
No,
It's
you
okay.
are
It's okay.
absolutely
I
No,
mean,
audible.
it's
guys,
fine. It's okay.
Okay.
I would request
Okay.
everybody to mute themselves while they're not talking.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Archit,
Yeah. I was
continue now.
expecting. Yeah. 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 I was expecting Mr. Jaitley to bring more reforms regarding the fiscal budget, deficit in our budget. It has been restricted to the same interim budget of 4.1%. I was expecting some more in that area. Uh, Apart from that, the budget was quite satisfactory. Also, I would like to add that those points brought out by Rajat were very good. We were expecting a hike of exemption limit to 3 lakhs. That was
Mm-hmm.
restricted to 2.5 lakhs. However, the government in the ATC section has uh, risen the exemption to 1.5 lakh and has equalized our expectations of exemption, uh,
Mm-hmm.
rising it to about more than 50,000.
Mm-hmm.
That is all. The rest of the budget was quite satisfactory.
Okay. Uh, any specific points in the budget, Rajat, that you would like to mention, that you would like our viewers to take notice of?
Actually, yes, yes. Actually, I was expecting that the MAT rates should be reduced. MAT means minimum alternate tax. It is currently 18.5 percentage. I was expecting the calculations to change because the calculation we are following now, we were following before the budget was totally complicated and totally irrelevant. So I was expecting that, but no step was. Hello,
All right. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So
Hitesh?
you're basically expect. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
All right. So you basically trying to say that you expected Arun Jaitley to increase the MAT rates, or you were expecting them to decrease the
No,
MAT
no, no.
rates? Because that.
Decrease the MAT rates.
Okay. And why would you say that? Why would you want him to increase the MAT rates?
As you have seen the calculations of MAT rate, obviously you have passed IPCC, you have done the MAT rate, then the calculations are totally complicated and irrelevant. A company its MAT rates, then you will have to compare the tax payable with MAT rates. And, there is no use of it actually.
I mean, if in case there is no use of having the MAT rate, uh, wouldn't it be better for the finance minister or the finance government ministry to completely abolish the MAT rates? I mean, I don't understand why you're
No,
basically
if
asking.
not, no, no, no,
Actually,
no.
MAT
If
cannot
we
be
are not,
completely
yes, Sumit.
MAT cannot be
Uh,
completely removed. Actually, MAT rate was introduced just for the companies like SEZ,
Uh-huh.
who are not required to pay any taxes.
Sumit, can you speak a bit louder?
Yes, MAT rate
Exactly,
was
Sumit.
introduced. MAT was
Yes,
actually introduced for the companies who doesn't pay taxes, like SEZ companies. We have heard that they have not paid taxes. They didn't pay taxes.
SEZ,
So,
Sumit, SEZ are exempted from MAT computation.
what?
exactly. That's the point. I mean, companies actually establishing themselves in the SEZ are not expected to pay taxes, because they're actually establishing themselves in a special economic zone, and by the point they're actually, I mean, the only reason why they're establishing themselves in a zone which is a special economic zone, they're actually exempted by the government from paying any taxes. I don't think, I mean, companies establishing themselves in the SEZ are required to pay taxes. I mean, I understand the point that Rajat is trying to make about increasing the MAT rate. I mean, that could be a good point. But if in case they've not actually removed it, I mean, I don't you think it would be good for the government to just remove it?
Yes, yeah, yes it is.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
sorry
yes,
guys,
I
I
can hear you.
All right, no, I think it's actually got a bit clumsy. I think Sumit just got disconnected in between, and Rajat was not able to hear me. No problems. We'll move on from the mat tray discussion, and we'll move on to the next point. Rajat, apart from the mat tray, do you think any other point that you wanted to make or mention from the finance
Actually,
budget?
actually yes, the point I'm going to make is quite debatable. I was expecting the CSR rate to decrease from 2% to at least 1.5% or 1%. Do you agree with me, Hitesh?
Uh, why would you ask the
feel
government to
so.
do that? Why would you
They
ask them to
are
do that?
wanting it to.
No, actually, it's causing a big burden on the companies to pay 2% of their profits to deposit, and they don't even know where the funds are going, whether it is being utilized in the correct way, correct manner or not. That was my question.
No, I think you're actually contradicting yourself by saying that the companies are not sure where the funds are going. I mean,
No,
I
no,
don't think this is a, yeah,
no, I'm trying to
yeah, yeah.
say that currently the companies are required to pay 2% of the net profits on deposited in CSR. Uh, I was expecting that 2% to reduce to 1.5 percentage or 1 percentage.
I understand what you're trying to say. You're saying that the government must have had reduced the CSR rates. I get that, but there must be a valid explanation before you ask the government to do that. You just cannot go ahead and tell the government, look, excuse me, the 2% CSR that you're asking us to pay, it's not valid. You need to go down and reduce it. Okay,
No,
fine, but
no, no.
why
Okay,
does the
okay.
government need to do that?
There is no provision regarding CSR in Income Tax Act. And what you're paying the 2% of your profits, you're not being able to even get the deduction of that from your net profit. The company is required to pay tax on the net profit, and you will also deposit the 2% of the net profit to the CSR. Then this doesn't make it justifiable. Either you give deduction
I
or
understand.
you decrease the
I
rates from
understand.
2 to 1.5
I
percentage.
understand. I understand what you're trying to say. You're basically cribbing on the fact that the government is not allowing the CSR expenditure as an allowance or a reduction in the IT Act,
Deduction.
right? I mean, the
Yes,
government has
yes.
completely barred it as a deduction. But I think it's also a good move on the government's part because, see, if they allow it as a deduction, what happens is indirectly the government goes on to pay one third of the CSR expenditure because the companies generally pay the rate for the companies is 30%. So if the government allows a deduction on the CSR, the government pays one third of the expenditure on the CSR. So by that logic, I don't think it really makes a lot of sense for the government to allow CSR as an expenditure to the companies. I don't think so. That's it's really a good point. Hello,
Hello.
hello. Yes, Rajat,
Hello.
can you hear us?
Hello.
Yes, yes, I can
Yes.
hear you.
All right. So
Okay,
Rajat, would
Sumit.
you
Yes, Hitesh.
just a minute, guys? Just a minute.
Okay. Yes, Sumit, would you like to make any point regarding the budget expectations
Yes,
and achieve?
I was just expecting to some reforms in subsidy, like decreasing the subsidy in LPG by 5 rupees per month, as we were expecting that. Just to, excuse me, can you hear me?
Yes, Sumit, you're audible.
Yes, I was wanting some reforms in. I was wanting some reforms in subsidy.
Yes, Sumit, can you hear us?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
You're trying to say you were expecting some reforms on the part of the subsidies given by the government. So
Yes.
what were those specific subsidies that you wanted the government to reform? Can you
Just
make
like
a list of them, or can you help us?
we are seeing monthly increase in petrol and diesel price. Similarly, I was wanting to that some happens in LPG, like rupees 5 or rupees 10 per month increase to overcome the burden of subsidy.
I mean, that's really a good point that you mentioned. I mean, sooner or later, if in case we want to move on the part of fiscal prudence, we will have to get rid of the subsidies that the government of India
Yes.
basically pays at this point in time. If you
The
look at the Manrega expenditure, if you look at the Manrega expenditure for the government in the last year approximately paid about 84,000 crore rupees on the Manrega bill, and it is expected by an analyst that the government is going to pay 1,15,000 crores on the part of Manrega, and that is nearly, what do you say, 10% of the country's GDP, and that's a huge figure. So we need to understand, that's a really good point that Sumit has made, that we need to reduce on the subsidies that the union government actually spends on. Sumit, apart from the subsidy point, any other point that you would like to make mention of?
nothing as such.
All right, not a problem. Thank you, Sumit. Archit, I would move forward to you.
Yeah, Hitesh,
Any
I would.
point from?
Actually,
Yeah,
I
Archit,
want
go
to
on.
make one
Yeah,
more point.
regarding the budget, I was expecting more on development in roads and railways. That is the development of connectivity from the small villages to the towns, and we are expecting this because generally we see that BJP government lays down its uh, what to say. Lays, the BJP government lays down its activities more on connecting its transportation in the country, as well as I was looking forward for something more than what was allotted in the budget regarding uh, the development of smart cities. The government was quite high on the 100 smart cities in the last 1 month, but we didn't see anything coming up in the budget regarding that. Just that the government has declared we are going to develop 2 to 3 smart cities by the end of 2019. So yeah, that is
Yes,
my
yes,
point.
Archit. I think you must be one guy who must be really pleased with the budget Arun Jaitley has presented. I mean, talking about the development of roads from rural areas to towns and cities, they've already allotted 37,000 crore to Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. You must be one guy who must be really happy. And talking about the 100 smart cities, I think the initiative has been made. They've started on an initiative, but yeah, it goes on to see how far they actually develop the 100 cities concept. We would actually have to wait and see, because I think finance minister has just allotted a small amount to the
Yeah,
development of
exactly.
100 cities. I mean, I think he's just allotted around 600 or
1200.
700 crores,
1200.
1200
Yeah,
crores to
1200
the
crores.
development of smart cities. And that's not exactly to the development of smart cities. That's basically to find out the feasibility if smart cities can be developed. That's actually been done. And apart from
Yeah,
that, talking about connectivity, you would be really happy to know that the government has decided to link ports. The Haldia port in Kolkata would now be linked to the Allahabad port in Uttar Pradesh, and that would actually help transportation of goods from one place to another. Apart from that, the government has also decided to link railways, the rail lines, to each and every coal mine in the country. That's a really welcome move. Apart from this, Archit, any other point that you would like to make or mention in the budget?
I was happy with the government allotting allotting areas for women empowerment as well as for the uh, what to say the real estate sector.
Yeah.
Amount of 500 crore, I think so. Amount of 500 crore has been allotted for their development, as
Mm-hmm.
well as these were welcoming moves by the government, and
Yeah.
obviously the budget was not very expansive. It was short and to the point a budget. So yeah, it was good all over.
Talking about the initiative on the women's part, I would like to make a mention of the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao Yojana initiated by
Yeah.
the Finance Ministry. The Finance Ministry has allotted a amount of 200 crores to the scheme of Beti Bachao Beti Padhao Yojana. And apart from the real estate, I mean the initiatives in the real estate sector also needs to be lauded. I mean, the initiative of REITs, that's Real Estate Investment Trust, is a very good concept, provided they basically work. And given the kind of state that our real estate industry is in, and the industry has only had a 3.7% growth in the last 1 year. So it's really a matter of concerns. Like if you go to cities like Gurgaon, there are properties worth 60,000 crores to 70,000 crores just lying vacant. There is nobody to take those properties. So this initiative by the government of REIT and RIT on the real estate front is a really welcome move. Thanks, Archit, for making those points on the finance budget. I would now move
Yeah.
forward to Rajat and ask him, Rajat, bhai, are
Yes.
you happy with the budget? Are you happy with the budget that the Modi government has presented, or are there any further
Mm,
points that you wanted in the budget?
yes, I wanted many points in the budget. First of all, the Arun Jaitley didn't lie a actual roadmap of when the GST and DTC will be implemented. The approach towards DTC is not actually clear till now. I was expecting him to
No,
be a more.
I beg to disagree because he's already mentioned that they're working on the GST front, and they're expecting that they would actually have a unity with the states which is actually going to face a lot of burden once GST comes into the picture. What Arun Jaitley has gone on to say is they're working on it. They formed a committee over it. They're working with the states, and they're anticipating that the GST would be implemented by the end of this year. So I think he's given a good amount of clarity on the GST front.
One more point I would like to make that most of the Indians are more keen to deposit their money in savings account, and the interest which they get from the savings account are allowed as deduction under Section 80 TTA, that is
Yep,
limited to maximum 10,000. But in most of
yep.
the cases, the interest from the savings account exceeds 10,000. In fact, it exceeds 20,000. So I expected the government to increase that limit to at least 20,000.
Yeah, all right.
It would encourage
That's a
them to.
real
Yes.
yes, Rajat. Continue, Rajat.
No, it will increase the savings. Actually, it will help the other. It will help the individuals to keep their money in savings account. And most of the savings account, I think, they get deductions from it also.
That's a good point, Rajat. I mean, that's a really good point that you've made. In case the government was really interested in getting the citizens to save more money, they could have really done that. I mean, yeah, that's a good point. Anything apart from that, Rajat?
No. And yes, I was expecting the limit of 54 EC, which is if you sell any long-term fixed asset, and then if you will invest that amount in NHA bond, a rural electrification bond, you will get a deduction of maximum 50 lakhs. So I was expecting
Okay.
that limit to increase up to 70 lakhs.
It's okay.
Actually,
I mean,
these
look,
are the things which I was expecting. These are the things which I have learned till now in my CA course. So I expected these things to improve, and that's all.
no, I think I kind of agree to you. I mean, yeah, this was one front where I was also expecting the exemptions to be increased because Narendra Modi has clearly said that he wants every Indian to have a house by the end of 2020. So that could have actually been done. I mean, not a problem. But look, we also need to give them the leverage of being in the government for only 45 days. They've been in power for the last 45 days. So we need to give them the leverage as well. I mean, not a problem. Yes, Sumit, go on.
Yes, actually the limit of under the limit of 54 EC, that is reduced to
Yeah,
50 lakhs in 2 financial years.
yeah.
The logic behind is that the bonds issued by the government are in very small quantity, means not as such heavy amounts are issued by the government. So if government
Mm-hmm.
will give 50 lakhs per year deduction to a an separate individual, then it will hamper small investors. Government's focus is
Mm-hmm.
on every small investor. At least all investors
Okay.
should take part in it. If you say if you only invest 1 crore in particular bond, then there will be no room left
Mm-hmm.
for the small investor.
Okay. All right.
That's why I think the logic behind 54 EC is not contradictable, and its 50 lakhs limit is moreover a good limit.
Okay. All right. That's a good point. Okay. Now I would move to Sumit again. Sumit, any other points in the union budget that you wanted to mention?
Actually, in my opinion, I found the budget a balanced budget, but uh, and actually we can't blame the government it has taken charge for just 45 days. In the 45 days, we can't expect any big bang announcement by the FF.
Mm-hmm.
So
All right.
it's
Uh,
more or less it's a balanced budget, and
I think everybody has made his or her point. In case anybody has anything else to say, he can go on to say that. Before I make, yeah, Archit.
I would like to mention one point. The government
Yeah.
has introduced a new tax on ROCA. ROCA, you see what uh, a dealer pays at the start of a deal to seal the deal. It's a very good introduction of taxation by the government, and also the increase in taxation of cigarettes and alcohols
Yeah.
has been a very good attempt by the government to reduce the
Mm-hmm.
usage of such in the country.
Mm-hmm.
actually
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
I very welcome this move. I personally welcome this move of increasing excise to 11% to 72%. Actually, it's a smart move by
Mm-hmm.
our FS. I don't think
I mean, yeah.
any consumer who consumes cigarette, who smokes, who is a passive
So do
smoker,
you smoke?
will will leave smoking.
I mean,
So do you smoke?
no, Sumit. I mean, let's not get personal, guys. I mean, if he smokes or not, that's a
Yes,
personal
yes,
point of
that
view.
will not let
But
person,
I
but
think, Sumit,
yes, yes.
no, I agree what you have to say that increasing the duty on cigarettes and tobacco and jarda and all other things that are consumed by people is a welcome move. But yeah, we might like it, but people who actually consume them might not really like it because increasing
Yes,
the
as
duties
I
from 11 to 72% can be really, really, really stressing on them. The prices
yes,
would radically go higher, and you don't know the kind of reaction that is going to actually come up.
no, what's the reaction? Can you please justify it? I think no consumer will ever blame in that the Modi government has led increase in the prices of cigarette, which will hamper their budget.
Okay, okay. So
Actually, I
anybody
think that's a
else?
smart move. See, actually, no passive smokers will not leave smoking or will reduce it marginally, and government will generate high revenue from it. And instead, it will not take any blame on him that they have increased the cigarette rates, so they are bad.
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
think it is a smart move. But those who consumed it may not like, as you say.
Exactly, exactly. That's the point that I'm trying to make. Anybody else who would like to make a point about the budget? Any other point in the budget that you liked or you did not like or you wanted it in the budget? Archit?
Yeah, it
Archit?
was very satisfactory, the budget, a balanced budget by the government, and yeah, as a common man, as a Kolkatan, I would say that government should have introduced some more things for the state of West Bengal. Apart from that, yeah, it was a very good move by the government, allotting a huge amount of money for the northeastern states. Rest all was good.
I mean, I hope everybody's done on their expectations. And before anybody stops me
Actually,
from, yes, Sumit,
I want to say
go
that
on, go on.
government has allocated sum of 200 crores of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel government, and
Yeah,
they have allocated 150 crores on women safety.
yep.
It's how I can't think. It's very small amount that he's allocating to the women's safety. Instead, he's giving 200 crores to Gujarat government for making the tallest statue of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel.
Sumit, do you realize the Statue of Liberty in the United States of America raises revenues
Yes,
up to 150 billion per year?
yeah. I actually how Sardar
Do
Vallabhbhai
you
Patel
realize that?
statue will generate revenue. Can you please explain me?
See,
Tourism.
I mean, it's really difficult to. Exactly, that's the point I'm trying to make. If you develop a statue that's the tallest statue in the world, automatically you invite a lot of tourists to the spot. And you should not also forget that the place where the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel statue is actually being planned also has a very beautiful riverfront just by this side. I am very sure that's gonna attract a lot of tourists to the venue, and I'm very sure it's gonna promote tourism in the country. And
Yes,
tourism, I think, can be the one big.
yeah. Tourism is absolutely necessary for that. Narendra Modi has completely focused on tourism. He has always
Hmm.
said that if tourism will always increase, it will generate revenue, even to small
Hmm.
class to higher classes.
Hmm.
I am not contradicting the move for allocating 200 crores to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel statue, but I am contradicting to the point that if
Hmm.
200 crores has been allocated to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel statue instead 150 crores only to women's safety.
Uh, you cannot compare the both of them. You cannot compare the two different spheres, the two different territories that they're actually getting into. I mean, the Gujarat government must have made a requisition for 200 crores or some amount, and
Yeah,
that's actually gone to them. And
yes,
150 crores, yeah, I agree. It's a smaller amount. It should have been close to 400 to 500 crores, given the kind of
yeah,
country we are in, the kind of
yes.
demographic dividend that we have in
That's
the country.
that's what I was
It's quite a
that's
big
what I
country
was
that
saying.
we live in, but it's not a problem. I mean, we've got to actually wait and see how the Modi government deals on women's security. I mean, I totally agree to it. It's a very small amount they've actually allocated to it. All right. Any other further points, Sumit, that you would like to make?
No.
All right, not a problem. I mean, before anybody now interrupts me and stops me from making my point clear, let me tell you, I am very disappointed with the kind of budget the Modi government has presented. Very, very, very disappointed. I mean, given the kind of work he's actually done in Gujarat and what he's actually done to the city or the state, I was expecting some real measures to be taken. But that has actually not been taken by the government. And apart from that, see, the government has the majority on its own. They already have 272 members in the parliament that are representing the government. So it could have been really easy for them to introduce reforms that could have actually changed the economic structure of the country, and that's practically missing from the budget. I don't see there is anything that can be called as a big bang measure that the Modi government has taken. I mean, see, this is the first year, and if they don't take any measures in the first year, I am very sure if once the government moves into its fourth and the fifth year, and the point of re-election comes into the picture, it's gonna get really difficult for the government. But it's okay. I mean, personally, if I rate the budget on a macro level, it could be a 9 on 10. But if I rate the government's budget on the micro level, I would not even give it a 4. That's how poor the government is actually. I can say it with a lot of confidence that there has been no thought process that has gone. There is no thought process that has practically gone into the budget from the finance ministry. I mean, I'll give you an example. What they've done is, uh, the first basic mistake that they've done is they've introduced a higher rate of tax percentage on capital gains on long term. long-term capital gains, they've actually increased the rates. They've brought it down. They've actually increased it to 20%. And what they've done is they've increased the holding period in case of debt funds or mutual funds from 12 months to 36 months. Now, this amendment by the
Only in case of
government,
only if we
Only
are holding
only
in
equity.
no, that is barring equity. Barring equity funds,
Yes, yes.
any other mutual fund barring equity funds is now now has a holding period or a test of holding period for 36 months. Now this
it's
amendment is
only
actually applicable.
equity,
Yes, Sumit.
mutual funds. If you are holding to means you are directly investing in equity markets, then our holding period still remains 12 months. And
I'm
as
not
per
talking about the equity holding period. Sumit. I'm not talking about the holding period for equity funds. I'm talking about the holding period for the mutual funds. I mean, what happens now is
yeah,
the amendment is basically applicable from 1st of April 15, right? So
yeah,
that is
yeah,
applicable from for AY 15-16. Now, if it is
yeah,
applicable for AY 15-16, what happens is it automatically gets applicable for financial year 13-14. Now, given the kind of bad run that we've had in the stock markets for the last 3 years, you would have a lot of people who would have invested in mutual funds and debt funds. Now, a lot of their mutual funds would now be on auto activation mode because most of the stock market investors were anticipating a Modi government, and all of them basically had their mutual funds on activation mode post August. Now, if there, I mean, suppose if somebody has bought a mutual fund in April 13 or April 14, his mutual funds gets what do you say, matured in the year 15-16 in the month of May. He is assuming that he's actually held it for less than 12 months, and since mutual funds have an holding period of less than 12 months to check whether it's short term or long term, he anticipates it's a short term gain, and he anticipates that it's a long term gain once he does it after just 12 months. So he gets an exemption because that would be charged with an STT. Now what happens is now they've increased the holding period check to 36 months. Once that happens, anybody having an auto mode within 12 months automatically gets that converted to 12 months, and now he has to pay a higher rate of tax to 20%, and he does not even get an exemption. Points like these actually show the government has not done any kind of a thought process or thinking on introducing amendments. There are a lot of other amendments that the government has basically introduced. One of them is also the introduction on the DDT front, that's the dividend distribution tax that the companies have to pay on the behalf of the shareholders. I mean, the previous phenomenon was to calculate tax on the net of tax. Now what they've done, they've actually started calculating tax on the gross dividend paid by the company to the shareholder. And this is not the kind of government that we were basically expecting. This is not the kind of budget that we were basically expecting from the Modi government. We expected a lot more pragmatic, a lot more reform oriented, a lot more big thinking budget from the Modi government, which has not actually happened. On the personal front, I am very disappointed with the kind of budget that has been presented. Another amendment that has been brought is in the service tax portion, that's in the indirect tax portion. What they've done is, now previously advertisement through hoardings or sell of space for advertisement was included in the negative list. Now what they've done, they've also included everything, any kind of advertisement barring print media into the negative, I mean, outside the negative list. They brought it outside the negative list, barring advertisement through print media. I don't understand the rationale behind it. At one point in time, Arun Jaitley goes on to say that we are trying to implement GST by the year end, and at the same time, you're bringing amendments to service tax, and you're also reducing a lot of excise and also duty payments. I mean, this budget clearly shows a clear thought process thinking. I don't think the government has done a clear thinking on the budget. But still, I would give the government the benefit of doubt in the leverage of being in power for just 46 months, 46 days or 45 days. I mean, considering the period that they had in their hand was too small. But still, overall, it's a really disappointing budget on micro level. Yeah, you can say on macro level it's a good budget, but personally, I'm very disappointed. Yeah, over to you
Actually,
guys.
actually, the point you mentioned that higher DDT, dividend distribution tax, will
Yeah,
hamper the dividend distribution for the shareholders, and also, and it will hamper to the mutual fund companies more severely.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, uh, it's going to affect everybody. The DDT portion is going to affect everybody.
Everybody it will
I
affect,
mean,
but it will affect
there are a lot of
most
there are a lot of
mutual fund companies. Actually, in this budget, I think Arun Jaitley has not shown any sympathy towards mutual fund companies. That's what I think.
exactly. I mean, just forget mutual fund companies. He's not even barred any senior citizen. I mean, consider a senior citizen who's now retired. He's not working and he's actually living on his dividends from companies like ITC. I mean, the kind of DDT that they're now actually going to pay is going to be huge. I mean, if you just calculate a declaration of DDT on a declaration of 100 rupees as dividend, there would be an increment of 4 rupees on every 100. Suppose if a company declares a 1 lakh of dividend, you can imagine the kind of effect that's actually gonna come into the picture. I mean,
Yes.
but you've also got to understand the government is basically trying to introduce resource mobilization processes or resource-led mobilization measures. But I think there could have been much better and much more improvised ways of mobilizing resources. To just go on and hammer old citizens or people living their lives on dividends is just not the need of the hour. You've got to basically simplify taxation for everybody, but introducing, I mean, amendments in service tax, and then at the same time saying we're going to introduce GST by the year end, then increasing the DDT percentage, then increasing the long term capital gain percentage, then reducing the mutual fund holding period. You're basically trying to harass the common man. But still, just hold on. This is the first budget. I would again say it's just been 45 or 46 days since the Modi government has been in power. So I think we need to give them more liberty, more space, and let's just see how does the implementation go by. And apart
Actually,
from this, yeah, Sumit.
actually, we should also be rational. Actually, we can't expect something that Mr. Modi government has came and all the good days have came. Actually, we are overhyped by this. We have just
Exactly,
thought
I
that
agree.
the
The market is also over.
we have just thought that Modi government will have the day Modi will uh, what to say
Come to
that
power, he would change
come
everything
to power,
around.
he will change everything around. Just like the expectations we were hoping from Raghuram Rajan when he was appointed as RBI governor.
I think Raghuram Rajan has been doing a good job since the time he's actually come to power. He's been doing a great job, but unfortunately he himself has been struggling to keep a control on the inflation. That's really killing the government as well now. And apart from that, one good point I would like to mention in the budget is for young entrepreneurs like us who actually want to make
Yes,
it big on the global scale, the government has introduced a new fund, a new venture capitalist fund, wherein the government would allot a whooping of amount of 10,000 crores, wherein young entrepreneurs can go ahead and apply for their funding of their projects. I think this is a good move by the government to promote entrepreneurship in the country, right? Anybody would
yes.
like to make a comment on that, Archit?
Definitely, I completely agree with you, Hitesh. The amount allotted by the government, 10,000 crores, is a whooping amount and it shall really help all of us. The thing is, how opportune you are and how much you take it to your advantage is the main point.
I agree, I agree. So, Archit, Rajat, you would like to make a point on that?
No, actually, I don't have any idea about it, so I don't like to comment. Don't feel like to comment.
All right. Thank you, guys. I think we're running short of time now. It's been over
Actually,
one
we
hour
have
we've
one
been
more.
discussing.
I have one point to discuss.
Yeah, Rajat, go on.
As per me, Arun Jaitley has been more generous towards the Northeast people. Actually, he has introduced a new news channel, 24/7 news channel, Arun Prabha for the Northeast, which will cost the government around 100 crores a year. And not only that, uh, Arun Jaitley has said that 500 crores for rehabilitation of the displaced Kashmir militaries will be invested. Uh,
Let's not go there. I mean, the issue of Kashmiri Pandits is a real political issue. It's a really controversial issue. I mean, somebody might like it, somebody might not like it. I personally, being a right-wing Hindu, I mean, I personally being somebody who actually has a right-wing Hindu ideology, would really support it. But somebody who is a liberal, or who somebody who basically follows the left-wing social ideology, would not want the government to do that. But then you've also got to consider the kind of discrimination that Kashmiri Pandits have basically faced in Kashmir. They've literally been thrown out of their homes, and they've not been allowed to enter their own homes and Kashmir for the last 20, 15 years. And the story that you actually read about Kashmiri Pandits is really distressing and really sad. And I don't think it's really necessary for the young aspiring market analysts like us to discuss the problems of Kashmiri Pandits. It's a political problem, it's a social problem, and I mean, I hope the government makes good justice, and it does not discriminate somebody, be it Muslims or be it any caste. Fair enough. Anybody else would like to make any further point? Okay, not a problem. I think we are also running out of time now, guys. It's been over 1.5 hours that we've been discussing. Thank you everybody for watching the live broadcast of the Budget Hangout from the where we discussed and tried dissecting the union budget. I hope we were able to satisfy your expectations, and we, just like the Modi government, did not run short on your expectations. Yeah, we admit, yes, we were actually quite not up to the point, and we promise much better services, much better dissection of markets weekly, and we hope to have your continued presence on future live hangouts. And you can watch us every Sunday 8:30 to 9:30 on our YouTube channel live, where we would be dissecting all major events that take place in the week, and we give you insights as to how the stock markets fared, and we discuss all major business news in the week that's gone by. Thank you for watching. Have a great week ahead. Bye bye.
Thank you.